What is going on, Grinders? It's Chief. We are in the building. It is Take Your Pick'em. It is Thursday, July 27th, 2023, and I am elated to come on yet again and talk to all of you beautiful folks about today's Pick'em slate and sort through a couple of plays that I like, that I've handpicked just for all of you. It's a small slate today. Typically with a small slate, there are limited options, but I do think there are a couple of good opportunities for us. Some may be obvious, some may not be. Spoiler alert, I will have at least one bat on today's show, one that I think is too low across the industry, shall I say. Boom Shakalaka, good friend of the show, good friend of the prop shop. Thank you so much for your support and joining on a daily basis. So, as you know, Jeff, my man, also another great supporter. Thank you, sir, for joining. Good morning, and good morning. We're going to kick this thing off. It is winning words of wisdom. And before I read this quote, we're going to take some time out and have a moment of silence for golf across the pick'em industry. Thank you. Golf is almost virtually dead. It's impossible to play on both sites. We're not going to shy away from it with these sites. Underdog is awful. PrizePicks, the payout has been dropped. I think they did the same thing on Vivid. I feel like all of the sites went to a convention this week and said, forget the players. We just want to protect our profits. And they dropped the golf payouts or made it virtually impossible to play. They want us to mix and match it with other things, and I think that's taking the fun out of the golf game. I do think, and hopefully we can get something going here where we can talk to some of these folks, but I think something has to be done about this. I'm very, very disappointed in how they've handled the golf product across the industry, and I mean all sites. I'm just very disappointed in how this has come across to the players. And so I don't know what can be done, but I think we've got to figure out some common ground here between the player and the company. And hopefully we can all figure that out together, but that's not something I'm going to shy away from. And every Thursday, we may just have to have a moment of silence for the golf product, but something has to be done here about what's happening. All right. It's time for winning words of wisdom. And as a tribute to golf, we're going with Ricky Fowler today. And Ricky Fowler does have a really, really, really nice quote here. And it is about golf. Richie, good morning, brother. It is about golf, but it's more about the attitude. Listen to this. Ricky Fowler says, it's great to be somewhat of a role model. I want to be a positive and good role model and lead by example and try to do the best I can. Playing good golf definitely draws attention, but I want to have a good attitude on the course and do the right things. And so what I think Ricky's saying here, listen, folks, it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters about your attitude. Your reputation is important, and that goes into positivity. I don't care how much money you win. Nobody likes jerks. Nobody likes people that know everything. If you know everything, this may not be the industry for you. It's always evolving. New things are always being created. And I'm here to tell you, folks, if you can forge good relationships, right, your career is going to be that much more successful in this industry, in your work career. As my pastor has said before, it's nice to be nice. It's just nice to be nice. If you're nice to people, if you put good out into the world, good is going to continue to come back. If you're looking around the corner and everything's always going bad, you may need to look at yourself. It's not the world's fault. It may be yours. Now, that may not come off as positive, but we need to be good people. We need to be good citizens. We need to take care of our neighbors. We need to treat people how we want to be treated. And I think Ricky Fowler is saying, Ricky Fowler is saying, it's not enough to just be a good golfer. I need to be a good person. It's not enough to just be a good capper. I need to be a good person. It's not enough to just be a good banker. I need to be a good person. It's not enough to just be a good manager. I need to be a good person. All right, that's winning words of wisdom. Go out into the world, continue to be good people. All right, here we go. So first up on the docket today, and I'm looking at my screen. I'm hoping that my internet is not about to do something crazy. I think it has caught up now, so hopefully we are good to go. We're going to start out. I talked about the bats, a bat, and guess what? Let's go over our recap. Excuse me. Let's go over the recap. Yesterday, folks, almost got the sweep. Almost got the sweep. We were very close. I was very disappointed. Strobin at 27.5 fantasy points and Strobin at 4.5 strikeouts. We took the L on those. We got the W on the other side with Miller at 5 strikeouts. We wanted more. We got that one. Flaherty at 29.5 fantasy points on both sides. We wanted under. We got that one. So we ended up splitting yesterday 2-2. We almost got, if Strowman comes through, the sweep was going to be incredible. Didn't get it. So on the month, we are 26, 17, and 1. That's where we are on the month. So we're going to kick this thing off. We're going right to the bat, and we're going to start this thing. We're going out to New York with the Mets. And you probably already know who we're talking about. He's their best player or their best hitter, and that's Pete Alonso, folks, the polar bear, Pete Alonso. And we're looking at fantasy points here on both sides. Now, I'm going to give you what he is on both sides, and then we'll get into the data here. So on Underdog, he's at 7.5 fantasy points. On PrizePicks, he's at 7 fantasy points. I think this is a touch too low for this particular matchup. Here's why. When I was digging through the numbers here, right? First of all, he's facing Josiah Gray today. And as we can see, Josiah Gray is not having the same success in terms of strikeouts this season as he did last season. So as we can see, let's start there. This season, Josiah Gray, 20% K rate, 21% to lefties, 18% to righties. Think about that, folks. So at 18% to righties, we've already got an advantage for Mr. Alonso. Last season, he was 23% overall, 23% to lefties, 24% to righties. So we've seen a dip in his strikeouts. Now, over the past 30 days, what you will see is he's back up to 23% to righties, 50% to lefties. But here's the deal. Pete Alonso to right-handed pitching this season. 351 ISO, 358 WOBA, 20% K rate, 13% walk rate. We have him projected around 9.3 fantasy points, roughly. But here's where I got excited when I was digging through this morning. When I started looking at the pitches that Josiah Gray throws. So he's mainly throwing slider, fat sinker, cutter, fastball. Those are his main pitches. Folks, I started looking at Pete Alonso and how he matched up to these things. This is the 4-seam fastball. Well, let's start with the slider, because most times guys strike out more with the slider. Something very interesting occurred here with Pete Alonso. He is still striking out more. But look at the ISO here, folks. Look at the ISO on the slider. 500 ISO, 425 WOBA, 25% K rate. Okay, that's pitch number 1. Let's go to pitch number 2, which is the fastball cutter. Okay, Pete Alonso, 429 ISO, 554 WOBA, 15% K rate, 20% walk rate. That's pitch number 2. Pitch number 3 we're going to. I think we might have missed the sinker. Excuse me. I think we missed the sinker. I'm sorry about that. That's pitch number 2. 132 ISO, 283 WOBA, 12% K rate, 4.9% walk rate. Okay. And then, of course, on the fastball, like we said, those are 4 pitches. 351 ISO, 358 WOBA, 20% K rate, 13.9% walk rate. And then over all pitches, 272 ISO, 339 WOBA, 20% K rate, 9% walk rate. Folks, Pete Alonso is in the spot of all spots today. 7.5 fantasy points on Underdog, don't care. Taking the over. 7 fantasy points on PrizePicks, don't care. We want more than that projection. Pete Alonso feels like the best spot on the day for me on the pick'em sites for fantasy points. Love that. Definitely think this is a good spot for us. Jason Martinez brings up something here. He said, your thought on the STL game today being that it's well over 100 degrees, eyes will be boiling. Derek Wilson says, show enough. Listen to me. Here's what I think. I think it's still a good spot, and actually we're going to go to that game now because there's a situation I want to target there. And hopefully this thing can switch. There we go. Hopefully this thing can switch over. because we got another bat that we're going to be pulling out today. We're going with Cody Bellinger. Folks, so Bellinger on Underdog is at 7.5 fantasy points. My goodness, what are the sites doing? Bellinger on PrizePicks is 7.5 fantasy points. I don't typically go with bats today, but Jason, I'm so glad you brought up that point. You're right in line with what I'm trying to accomplish here. Cody Bellinger on the season, 189 ISO, 359 WOBA, 18.2% walk rate, and Miles Mikolas has left a lot to be desired this season. 15% K rate on the season, 17.1% to lefties, 14.6% to righties. Last season, you saw he was a touch above that at 18%, 20% to lefties, 17% to righties. And over the past 30 days, we've seen a 14% K rate overall, 20% to lefties, 12% to righties. We look at what Miles Mikolas is throwing. He's mostly throwing 4-seam fastball around 26%, excuse me. We're going to see Cody Bellinger at a 22% K rate, 332 WOBA, 155 ISO. We're moving down. We're going to the slider. Now, it's not going to be as good on the slider typically. Look at that. But the K rate's at 7.1%. Walk rate's at 14.3%. Walks will get us fantasy points as well. And in fact, we get an extra bump, 3 fantasy points on Underdog for the walk. Then we're going to the Saker. This is the one that I think is going to get us slightly excited. Bellinger, 200 ISO, 388 WOBA, 25% K rate. Then we got a little bit of curveball as well. All in all, I'm not worried about it. Bellinger, only 14 plate appearances here, but I like Bellinger in this spot. He does have the opportunity. He's going to have some guys in front of him, Talkman, Horner, Happ, should have the ability to drive in some runs. Why? Well, Talkman's at 20%, Horner's at 12%, Happ's at 24%, but these guys have nice walk rate. Talkman at 12%. And Happ at 16. I think we've got an opportunity for him to drive in some runs today. We've already talked about the heat. And in fact, let's go. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here. I'm going to our weather report, which I did pull up, but I'm going to go to Weather Edge. And let's see what Weather Edge has for us on today in terms of the weather there and how that's going to impact the game. Let's see what we have. As it comes up, it's loading, and hopefully it will click into gear really soon. Oh, man, I guess I need to pay my RotoGrinders subscription. This is terrible. All right, no Weather Edge today. I don't know why they didn't pop up. No big deal. Back to Plate IQ. You guys can get a good kick out of that one, all right? Either way, I still like Cody Bellinger. I think it's a good spot for him. I think he's going to be able to take care of business. Last prop on the day. This is the obvious spot. I don't think anyone's going to – I'm not saying everyone's going to be in on it, but it's Shohei Ohtani. He's at 7.5 strikeouts. We want more than that projection. Shohei on the season, 32% K rate, 30.7% to lefties, 33.5% to righties. And then over the past 30 days, 31%, 33% to lefties, 29% to righties. And as we can see, the strikeouts are here in this lineup for the Detroit Tigers. I definitely want to target the best hitter on the slate. McKinstry at 21, Riley Green at 26, Torkelson at 26, Carpenter at 23, Vierling at 21, Javi Baez 22, Nick Matan 24, Akil Baddoo 23, Eric Haas 24%. Definitely think the strikeouts are there for Ohtani today with this team. I mean, up and down this lineup, everybody's above 20, some in the mid-20s, some closer to 25. I think this is a good opportunity for Ohtani to have a nice day on the mound. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Only one pitcher today. Like I said, smaller slate, really dug into the bats a little bit more. Full disclosure, I love pitcher props more than hitter props. But obviously, sometimes there's just opportunities. And I definitely think, once again, Pete Alonso, definitely my top hitter prop on the day, hitter square on the day for these sites. So let's go back to the top. We got Pete Alonso at 7 fantasy points on PrizePicks, 7.5 on Underdog. We want more than that projection facing Josiah Gray. We've got Cody Bellinger out in the heat in St. Louis facing Miles Mikolas. He's 7.5 on both sides. We want more than that projection. And then, of course, we're going to the best pitcher on the day. I was shocked he hadn't bumped up to 8. We've got Ohtani at 7.5 strikeouts. We want more than that projection. Virtually pour one out for our homies in the golf streets. Hopefully the sites will continue to improve the golf product or to at least get it back close to what it was. I'm Chief. This has been Take Your Pick'em. Come in with your pockets empty, leave with your pockets full. Let's get the sweep. Go out in the world and be a good person today, and I'll see you tomorrow.